Good morning, beautiful people. It is Thursday, April 16th, 2020, the day after Jay Glazer broke massive news. We'll talk about that. We will talk about all things happening in the world today. Also, Dustin Colquitt will be joining us, punter of the Kansas City Chiefs and Super Bowl champion, the lefty who once hit an 81-yard dong shot, will be joining us in about 29 minutes. And in the second hour, Lane Johnson, Super Bowl champion from the Philadelphia Eagles, will be joining us. Shortly, in about 14 minutes, I believe Sam Roberts, who is a friend of the WWE, guest of the WWE, fan of the WWE, co-host of mine alongside Charlie Caruso for the NXT pre-show panel, talking about all things that happened in WWE yesterday. Sad day for the WWE yesterday, laying off a lot of humans. We'll talk about that. And we want your phone calls. 1-833-622-3331. Let's have a damn good day. Evan Foxy, please play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right it is, Chase Rice. I'm being joined by all the boys here, rocking his Lefko sweater at Nick Maroldo.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hey, Nick, you look good in that sweater. Something I could never wear, a body that is built like yours. Or Foxy, the stringy, thin. That is somebody that can wear that sweater. I just can't do it, so I appreciate the fact that you're doing it for all of us.
Thank you. Those were kind words. I expected much worse.
What were you expecting?
Just lanky and
I'm worried.
baby arms and things like that.
No, not you. Foxy used to look like that, but this dude's been putting in work over here. He's been going through an entire training camp and making him a much worse basketball player somehow. At Tone Diggs is here looking fantastic, rocking a D on his head. How's it going, Detroit?
Duquesne.
Oh,
Detroit.
Okay.
Duquesne.
At Ty Schmidt, how are you, pal?
I'm doing pretty good. You mentioned it earlier. I also have some massive breaking news that I will be breaking tomorrow night.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I do.
On,
I do.
On your Twitter, where's it gonna?
Maybe IG Live. We haven't really worked out the bugs yet of where it's gonna be, but we'll see. It's
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
You're talking about 20. I don't even know the day. 24 plus another 12, which is what 36 hours from now.
About 36 hours from now.
You have big news to break.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you heard it here first. Can't wait. You could break that now if it was really big news. Waiting 36 hours.
Yeah, but it's big news, so it needs the extra 36 hours or so.
Jay Glazer, friend of the show, had a rough night last night. Jason McAfee at Viva Lazito, who is fixing everything in our studio minutes before the show goes live. The utility man, we appreciate you, Zito. At Evan Foxy, there's the man who's getting his swole on and in. You can see him on the shoulder. Yesterday you did up downs. Today find him in the net for the Boston Bruins. Boston Connor, how's it going?
I mean, we're going all right, but we're skating with cement in our skates out there today, boys.
Hey, pal.
Hey.
Hey, maybe get some faces on pucks here, pal. Hey.
We're trying to put some bodies into boards today, and we're getting nothing.
Who was that goalie that was the sixth stringer? That was the Zambo driver?
David Ayers.
He looked like such a better athlete than what Connor looks like.
I'll shoot him up right now. I'm about to go in the game, boys. I got to go.
I watched the up downs yesterday for the first time last night. And I was taking my evening grumpy, and kind of just going through the internet one last time to see if I missed anything. It was after the big news was already broken, just kind of one last sail off. And I watched the video of him doing up downs yesterday for the first time. And I was just crying, laughing in my bathroom. You are an absolute maniac back there. But I'll tell you what, you look pretty good for a goalie. You know what I mean? You look pretty good.
I do too, sir. I think I could lace them up for Team USA tomorrow if they needed me.
I don't think you can do that.
Sorry.
That was very disrespectful.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sorry?
Sorry.
Say what?
Sorry.
Come again, eh?
Sorry.
We got a lot of Canadian fans in the show. They're probably very pissed off about it.
Oh, the hockey is my hockey home now. I love the Canada.
I'm not happy about it.
Oh, what are you talking about, Nick? A little hockey talk. You like it, huh?
What are you, Irish? What is that?
I'm Irish from Canada, eh?
And that's hockey talk. Okay, the big news that Jay Glazer teased for 36 hours. Okay, we thought it was coming out tonight, but turns out it was last night. He said it 2 days ago on a morning show. He has some big news. And anytime you hear that an insider in the NFL has big news, especially in times like these, your mind's going to wander. Okay, I know Jay Glazer. I like him as a person. As soon as I heard he had big news, two bigs in there, right? Mm-hmm. Two bigs in his exact quote. I was like, okay, something massive's going to happen, which is going to be able to carry us to the draft next week. Now we got sporting news. Hello, Korean baseball's coming back. Great to hear. Can't wait to watch about an inning and a half of it and be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't even like MLB baseball, but maybe Korean baseball will win me over for the sport of baseball. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like it's going to be like preseason football. Everybody's itching for football to get back. Then you see preseason football, you watch like a quarter, you're like, okay, all right, let's get to the regular season. Might happen with Korean baseball, might not. Pumped to watch it, all that stuff. Didn't know if he was going to, make some other breaking news, big news. Maybe it's Gronkowski going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because of his tie-in with Fox. And now that we know that Tampa Bay is shopping O.J. Howard on the trade block, that news would have been even more paramount from Jay Glazer last night. Maybe it was Greg Olsen was going to say, you know what? I'm not going to play football this year for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm actually coming back. I'm going to be the number 2 color commentator for Fox in the NFL since they lost Charles Davis. Thought that could potentially be the big breaking news. Maybe we thought he was going to have news about the NFL, maybe thinking about going ahead without fans and something like that. Any of those things could have been big news. So maybe it was our fault, for setting our expectations at a level that was so damn high, because what Jay Glazer broke, it almost broke the internet last night with ratios. I have never seen Jay Glazer get heat like this. Jay Glazer, very well liked by almost every human out there. There was one tweet that said, 10 years of goodwill ruined in one night. One night. And I do believe that he potentially thought this was big news, but boy, the rest of the world did not. Roll it, Foxy.
This is a news item I would hope that I would not have to break.
Okay, what
is
is
it? We
it?
had Sean Payton on a couple of weeks ago as the first member of the NFL family that we knew that had the coronavirus.
Is he dead?
Now I'm here to report
No,
we have news of the first player to test positive for the coronavirus.
Oh, that
It
Raiders.
is Rams center Brian Allen. Now, I
Who?
talked to Brian this morning, and he said he got it actually about 3 weeks ago. And the first thing he said was, quote, I woke up 3 weeks ago. I couldn't smell anything. I lost all sense of smell to the point where I had smelling salts here. I cracked them open, put them to my nose, and nothing happened. Then he lost his sense of taste. He said all I could feel was texture in my mouth. Literally, it was the only sense I had in my mouth. And he said I then got periodic sore throats. I would just get really fatigued. My throat would start burning. Everything felt different than every other flu I've had. He then got headaches,
It's not flu.
stiff. He'd get tired. He has to sit down. I asked him how long did these symptoms last. He said those lasted for about 3 or 4 days, but he was retested again last week, and he tested positive again.
No.
Wow.
But Brian told me that because of the length that he's had it, as of Thursday, he will actually be in the all clear. So
Okay.
his symptoms have cleared
Today.
except for
Yeah.
the taste
Okay.
and smell.
Okay.
He said the doctors have actually told him a range of when he's going to regain his smell. He said it was anywhere from 6 to 8 months, but he's actually 6 to 8 months, but he's actually regained some of the smell already. So he's not really sure what
Some of the smell.
to go on. But again, Brian Allen, we're glad that, and Brian said to me also, look, my case wasn't as bad. This is a real life or death situation. That's not what my situation was.
Oh.
So we're happy that Brian Allen is able to pull through this.
Yeah, we are. I mean, first of all, happy that Brian Allen's getting some sense of smell back, and he's in the all clear starting today. Congrats, Brian Allen. Didn't know he was in the NFL until right now, but very pumped up about him. Probably should know more about him. The guy just beat coronavirus. Okay, shout out to that guy. But boy, when you break big news, it's got. I think a lot of people were thinking this was earth shattering stuff, and instead it was about a guy who turns out is healthy, is safe. Lost his sense of smell, took smelling salts to the face, couldn't smell anything. But I guess there was a Raiders player that was already reported of having COVID-19 a couple weeks ago. I mean, this is just for Jay Glazer, who I am a massive fan of. Last night was a rough night for Jay Glazer, but I bet you Fox Football Now had numbers through the roof. So you can't help but hate on his Chris Jenner-like methods of marketing. But boy, it was a big letdown. Jay Glazer's going to have to bring some real bang to his next news that he breaks, I would assume.
So you really do think that he was thinking like, oh, people are going to go crazy
so,
when
yeah.
they hear this?
I think so. He's like, oh, it has affected not only the coaches, but it's also now affected the players. I think he thought that. And by the way, you could see how he maybe would have thought that, because an NFL player getting COVID-19 does seem like it's something that wouldn't happen, especially because the way the quarantine's all locked down and stuff like that. But NBA players have already had it. There's already been so many other people. Tom Hanks has already had it. I mean, there's already been big names that have it. So whenever Brian Allen has it, it's like, okay, first of all, didn't know that guy existed. Happy he's okay. But that's not really going to be the thing that's going to move people to the edge of their seat. And Jay Glazer found it out last night. He'll bounce back. Jay Glazer is a durable person. Jay Glazer is a guy that can really get back in the saddle. But I think he'll bounce back after a rough night on the internet last night. It was nowhere near. What's up?
No disrespect to Brian Allen, but if it was a bigger name NFL player,
Big deal.
Yeah.
I think if it's a big deal. I mean, if Tom Brady takes a poop, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Jared Goff, even quarterback of the LA Rams, big deal. I think it's just a little bit different. Brian Allen, not his fault. He's an offensive lineman, and he's supposed to be anonymous. So whenever you tell us an anonymous guy gets a disease or a virus that we've heard everybody, like a lot of people, I mean, it's just tough night for Jay Glazer. Bad day yesterday for the WWE. We got to get to a break on radio. We'll do some YouTube questions and phone calls during the break. We have Sam Roberts joining us directly afterwards. Sam from Not Sam, and also from the Sam Roberts and Jim Norton show on SiriusXM. Massive WWE, WWF sports entertainment wrestling historian, basically. Some people say he's insufferable. We're going to see if that's true or not. Sam Roberts joins us on the other side of this Pat McAfee show. Here we go to the phone. Sam in Missouri, what's going on?
How we doing, boys?
M-I, crooked letter, O-U-R-I. Now, hey, you can find me. Rain all day. Jobs and something. Others just smoke and pop all day. Quarantine life back in the day, Missouri. Sam, what's going on, bud?
Hey, how you doing, boys? How we doing?
Just hanging out. How you doing? How you doing, huh?
Hey, it's kind of trash. Don't like it. This quarantine's some stooges over here. I hate it.
Yeah,
hate it.
COVID-19, a big bitch. Amen. What do you want to talk about, brother?
It'd be like that. No, my question, OTAs, Dak hasn't been reporting yet. Do the Bengals become buffoons in trade for Dak Prescott with the number 1 overall pick and go get Mike McCarthy with Joe Burrow? A whole new scheme just for Mike McCarthy and Joe Burrow. What do you think?
Okay. He's saying that Cowboys potentially going to trade Dak up to the Cincinnati Bengals to get Joe Burrow at number 1. Don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. Not 100% sure it would happen, but I don't hate it. I don't know what they're going to do. If Dak Prescott hasn't signed his franchise tag, do they even have the right to trade him?
No, right? That's a good question.
No, I don't think
he's
so.
He's off his other contract.
Yeah, because he's not officially a free agent, but he can't really do anything because they've placed this thing on him that doesn't allow him to hit the open market. So I'm not 100% sure if they can even trade him. I don't know. I'm sure in the past maybe it has happened. People have been traded before.
He has to sign to get traded.
Yeah, he probably has to sign the franchise tag, and then he has to be told by the Bengals, we'll sign you to a long-term, bigger contract, which seems like something the Bengals won't do.
I don't think so.
I think that's what happened. Was that Clowney last year who was sitting out and then signed his tag and then got traded to Seattle? Or I think.
And then they didn't rework that contract, right? Because he's free agent right now. Normally, you're not signing the franchise tag because you want a long-term deal. So if you're not getting promised by the next team, you're going to get a long-term deal. Why would you sign? I don't know. I still think there's a chance like Cam Newton or any of these other quarterbacks that are out. Andy Dalton. Do you see him? I got a DM from Andy Dalton, told me stop making yard shaming. His yard stinks, Andy. Come on. I mean, that needed to be a better yard there. The grass was trash.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to at least spray paint it green like you're the Heinz Field in Pittsburgh or another place like that. Andy, get it together. Andy Dalton's going to be an interesting person to watch in this entire thing. Still got it. Still a good football player. Yeah. Just a victim of circumstance right now. You got this kid from Ohio who's about to take over the Bengals franchise. I don't know what he's going to do.
How old is he? He's not. It's not like he's
my age, I think.
32.
Yeah,
so I mean,
31,
like
30.
He's still got plenty of years left.
Bring him to New England.
Great question by Sam in Missouri there. On the other side, we got another Sam Roberts. This guy every once in a while will catch a text that I'm supposed to send to Sam, my lady, because it pops up on my phone. I told him I loved him the other day. I do, but not that message. All right, we're going to get to the other side of this break real quick. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Yesterday was a bad day in the WWE's history. A lot of incredibly talented people were laid off from their jobs, and amidst this COVID-19 quarantina, to talk about that is a man who I've gotten a chance to share microphones with, television screen with, and numerous other things with. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Roberts.
Yeah!
Attaboy, Sam!
Thanks.
What is that, the Not Sam studio there?
Yeah, how did you know that that's where we were?
Sure looks like a basement.
Well, it's not. It's a studio.
Sure looks like a basement, Sam.
Okay, well, you look like you're in a building.
Well, that's a lot better. This is a studio, too, by the way, in a building, not in my basement, but that's neither here nor there. Sam, you've been... Yep.
Studios can be, by the way, studios can be on any floor of the building, and it's still just as much a studio.
Yeah, but you're literally the guy in his basement. That's like people talk about like, oh, get out of your basement and start doing. You are that guy. I mean, that's why people on wrestling internet get so mad at you, I think.
Is that what that is? That's my location?
Let's talk about yesterday, though. Bad day in wrestling history yesterday. A lot of very talented people got laid off. For those who might be listening or watching that don't know exactly what happened or how it happened, can you break it down just a little bit for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I guess around noon, word broke that there was going to be a conference call for WWE employees. I'm not a WWE employee, so I don't know anything about being on an actual conference call or anything like that. I just know what the internet tells me.
Hey, I was not on that conference call either, so it's a pretty good day for us, I guess, not to be on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But apparently on the conference call, they said that there's going to be talent cuts, and they're just going to be, as a cost-cutting mechanism, they're going to be removing some people from the company. And then right around 2-3 o'clock yesterday, word just started getting out about different talent and different people who worked at WWE behind the scenes that were getting let go. And I mean, I think it went further than anybody realized it was going to go in terms of just the sheer number of people that lost their jobs or got furloughed yesterday.
You have people that have been working at WWE for 20, 30 years that got furloughed or laid off yesterday out of nowhere. And the WWE, although it's an internationally, globally traded company, it's really a family business at the end of the day. I mean, there's only a certain amount of people that are making decisions. You know those people, you see those people, they interact with you. It's a very much smaller business than you would ever fathom, especially with their global reach and tentacles and the amount of cash. I think that's why the reaction on the internet was so negative, because they know exactly who's making this decision. Vince McMahon himself has been a character. He has been the best heel in the history of the business, but everybody knows that everything he's about is money. Everything he knows is about business, ironclad contracts, firing people, kiss my ass, all that stuff. So whenever he starts getting laid off, that kind of gives people ammo to be like, oh, this guy who has all this money who's rubbed in our face for so long now can't afford to pay his people. And I think that's why it kind of got a negative rap yesterday. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, the Mr. McMahon character and the Vince McMahon person start to blend together into this one thing. And I mean, you're right. It really is the only publicly traded company that I can think about that's that big that people still look at as, well, this is that guy's company. There's a guy there. He calls all the shots. Most of the times, these giant conglomerates, they go public and there's a whole group of people and different decisions come from different areas. But WWE has maintained that sort of at least public image of, this is Oz, the great and powerful, and he's the one that says what goes here.
There has been a lot of hirings by the WWE over the last couple of years because of competition coming in, right? AEW, New Japan, you name it. Independent wrestling has become a little bit more mainstream, and there's been a couple other promotions that have money and TV deals and backing and eyeballs. So they got into an arms race, basically. People were hiring however they could hire. WWE ended up with so much talent. They hired so many people because everybody's dream was to get to the WWE. Now they're letting people go. A couple of those people, I think, are going to find jobs very, very quickly with other competitors. I think Rusev will get picked up stat. I mean, the Rusev run was a one that was massive, and a lot of fans believe he wasn't used properly, and then he'll go on. But for a lot of them, I'm not 100% sure they're going to be able to get signed immediately. I mean, what does the future look like for a lot of these people in your eyes?
Well, that to me is the most concerning thing, that there were a lot of people on the internet yesterday that were going like, oh, it's okay, AEW, here we come, or New Japan, or whatever it is. And people aren't keeping in mind, nobody is running shows. Nobody is hiring people right now. AEW is still on TV, but it's been taped weeks in advance. You know what I mean? So I don't see AEW making any hires for at least a little bit of time. And there's certainly no other, as healthy as the independents are and Ring of Honors and all these other organizations, they're not running shows. New Japan is not running shows. Like these guys who will eventually get hired. I mean, the reality is at some point things are going to get back to normal. At some point there's going to be places to go to work. And eventually some of these people will get hired in other companies. Eventually some of these people will probably, I hope, be back in WWE. But for the time being, I think you're left with a lot of people and a lot of behind the scenes people in WWE too. Because I mean, I talked to a lot of friends who, they're not going to be press releases about them going, but a lot of people behind the scenes went, and all of these people are kind of sitting there, I think, at least in the short term, going, I don't know what's going to come next.
Yeah, what's the fallout of this going to be long term, you think? Do you think WWE is going to have to real PR this thing? There was a lot of very unhappy humans on the internet. Now, granted, the internet, I mean, our guy Jay Glazer got buried last night for talking about a guy getting coronavirus. I mean, the internet.
I saw that.
Yeah,
saw that.
Big news, he said.
Dude, this is when you know it's bad. I don't even follow football. I don't know if the guy he's announcing has corona is a big deal or not.
He's not.
But when I'm sitting there going, oh, what did Jay Glazer do? It's either really good news for Jay or it's really bad news.
What do you think WWE's next steps will be, though, in this entire thing? Do you think they're going to have to PR this? Like, they didn't address it last night, I don't think, on their live NXT taping, which is very interesting.
No. I think that WWE is going to have to charge forward and just keep putting out product and hope that people enjoy the product that they put out. I would think that as this world that we're living in continues, people are going to continue to realize that layoffs and things like that are a reality of most companies. I think that it's all going to come into play when things get back to normal. And how does WWE handle that?
Sam, a lot of people in the YouTube comment section are saying very mean things about you, and I am not.
That's hard to believe. I wouldn't think. Are you? Check again. Is it my name that they're talking about, or is it somebody else?
Sam, that might be my fiance. Now that I.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't think it's directly you. They just get Sam off the screen. I think they're maybe talking about my fiance. I think that's.
Is she on the screen?
Well, I don't know what screen they're referring to. We don't really know what screen they are referring to.
Yeah,
Sam.
Yeah, I didn't think I was saying anything controversial. I don't know why the negativity. Is that just your audience? Do you think?
No, it's not my audience. Don't you come after my toxic culture over here. Don't you do that to me, pal. I think this is your audience leaking in. Your audience leaking into here. You were trending on Twitter. The other week. Do you want to talk about that or anything? Do you like whenever you start trending? Normally in the WWE world, okay, it's not real life. Wrestling is not real life. You actually want people to either hate you with everything they have inside of you or love you with everything, nothing in the middle. For Sam, in the current moment that Sam Roberts is in, it is currently the first one there, the hatred of the thing. Do you, whenever you're trending, do you check Twitter?
I always check to see if I'm trending, and then I check the trend enough just to catch the overall vibe. And then once I've caught the vibe, I go like, okay, good to know. And then I'll kind of go about it. Maybe I'll talk to my wife and be like, look, I'm trending again. And then, the people who just listen to me on the radio that don't know me from wrestling at all are like, oh, it's always a good day when Sam is trending. Look how much they hate him.
Does your wife?
Don't say that.
Does your wife get all worked up about it?
No, I've had to condition her. At first she was like she would get really, really upset about it, and she'd go, "But what they're saying about you is not true." And I go, "Yeah, but don't tell anybody that. Like, let's keep this going." And so now she's with me, where she goes, "Oh, that's great. Like, what are they saying?" I go, Don't worry about that, Jess. Just know that they're saying something."
Well, Sam, I enjoy the hell out of you, bub. And anytime I get to publicly bash you on Twitter when you're trending, I jump in too. So if it needs anything,
it's a hot trend. You gotta be a part of it.
Gotta do it, ladies and gentlemen. From the Not Sam studio, host of the Sam Roberts and Jim Norton show on SiriusXM every single morning, and also podcast. What's your name of your podcast? Not Sam Wrestling.
That's it.
Anything else? You got Not Shoes too, right?
You go to Not Sam on YouTube and you can find everything there. And I'll probably record a podcast right about now, kind of going in detail about all the releases and everything that happened yesterday. So that'll be out there on the internet for everybody.
WWE fans very eager to hear whether or not you were fired yesterday. Your official statement is you can't get fired if you're not hired.
Here's the thing. If the only reason I'm there is because Triple H likes me and I'll work for free, you can't fire free. You know what
I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Roberts. We appreciate you, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, we have to get to a break. Dustin Colquitt joins us on the other side. Super Bowl champion, legend in the ball-kicking community. He punted in the NFL, currently punting. His brother punts in the NFL. His uncle punted in the NFL. I think his dad punted some balls at one point. The Colquitt family pops out of the womb, kicking things, and we'll talk to him on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Clay, there's a lot of talk of some vets that want to find a way to get down to Tampa in so-called ring chase with a little guy named Tom Brady, fresh off the heels of his Howard Stern interview that he was he was a lot more open than normal. Have you given much thought to what it may look like to strap it up for the Bucks and try to chase another ring?
Hey, I'm not going to lie to you. That crossed my mind. I thought. I think football is a little more difficult to ring chase. I know where you're going with this, but ultimately, his track record says that the Bucks, should be the team to beat in the NFC. So we'll see if there's any interest. I know they've got a stud out there rushing off the edge, but like we talked about earlier, we're just sitting tight, and hopefully something comes about with a quarterback in the likes, or in the same ballpark as Tom, and we can make another run at this.
How does that process go, Clay? Your agent will say, hey, here's some teams that are interested, because you're at a whole different stage now. You said it, you're later in your career. You're going to find a good situation, a winning situation. And I think you were going to say while you were answering, and you didn't say it, you held back, which is smart, obviously, because you're starting a shitty contract is what you said. But you were going to say, how does that process look? Your agent will be like, hey, here are some teams we've got interest from. Here are the pros. Here are the cons of each team. Is that how that whole thing will go? Is it more of like a field base?
I think it's. I think first and foremost, the first thing you realize in free agency is all 31 teams are intrigued. They're intrigued with you, but that means nothing. The reality is what team is willing to make an offer. And then once you have an offer on the table, or you agree to, a price you're comfortable with before signing on the dotted line, at least for me, I speak with my father, who's, obviously played in the league and had, some success doing so. I speak with my wife, people close to me, just to, see if it's the right move. Because, I would say deep down, I know what the right decision is, but I want to get the input of the people closest to me, who are going to be a part of this. Because, my wife picks up the slack during the season with the 3 kids, and, she's up in the middle of the night with the kids, taking them to school. And if we were to go to a new city or state, with no friends or anything along the lines, it makes it more difficult for her. And you got to look at the quality of life and living. And AJ, I know you went to Cincinnati, after Green Bay, and I have to think, a large part of that was to be closer to home, growing up in Columbus, right? Dublin, somewhere around there.
Yeah, they stink. Don't go to Cincinnati, Clay.
Well, I was speaking on behalf of AJ. But,
okay.
Can you flip your phone sideways? Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Joining us now is a man who delivered $25,000 worth of scrubs
to local Kansas City Children's Hospital on Tuesday. Wow. What a guy. Hey, by the way, he's got 45 kids, a Super Bowl ring, and a heart of gold. Ladies and gentlemen, the Southpaw from the Kansas City Chiefs, Dustin Colquitt. Yeah! Oh, great shirt. Oh, hey, great shirt. Hey, great shirt.
You knew I was going to wear it.
I do. I didn't know that, but I appreciate that you did. You look damn good in that. You look very thin right now. How are you staying in shape after winning a Super Bowl and being locked down right now?
Well, we're locked down with 5 kids inside of one house, and it's nuts. In the South, back in the day, they wouldn't let more than 5 girls in the same house at the same time, and I know why. It's a little crazy being locked down. We have 5 kids, obviously me and my wife, and then 2 cats, 2 dogs, 2 frogs. It's getting a little crazy here in Kansas.
I don't want to completely derail this conversation, but did you start with your frogs as tadpoles and then watch them grow into frogs?
No, they jumped in a pond in our backyard, and the kids said we can't let it die during the winter. And then we got another one the first of spring, and we just keep multiplying. I told them we have to start letting things go because we got to tighten up the hatches here, button them down.
I have 2 dogs, 4 cats, 2 frogs, and a mouse now at my house. No human pets, though, thank God.
No, you got to work on that, man. You got to put more of you out into this world to be a better place.
No, Dustin. The world needs less of me. Believe me, I understand that. I know too much about me. Let's talk about you. Everybody thinks that when you're a punter for a team that doesn't punt as much as another team, that your job is easier. And I have been on record numerous times stating that the year we were 2-14 and I almost broke the single season punting a number record was a much easier year for me than the year where we almost went 16-0 and I was punting like once a game, twice a game. Because whenever they need you, you have to have a big one. There's no room for error. This past season with Patrick Mahomes and the way that offense has been going, there was a lot of jokes made about Dustin Colquitt, but then whenever your ass had to get out there and hit a couple bombs, you did just that. What have you been learning here about this new offense that you guys have and how the punter is a position that is going to be very rarely seen, but when he is, it's going to be a big-ass deal?
Yeah, definitely. And you end up being a sports psychologist for your kicker. You're kicking a lot of field goals. You're holding a lot. And then, like you said, you got to make sure that you get a lot more practice just leading up to games. Pre-games become important. And then, like, when you get out there, like you said, you're trying to make guys fumble. You're trying to turn the field over, trying to bury it inside the 10-yard line. The days, like of the 20-yard line, those are gone. You're trying to bury that thing deeper. You're trying to get to the 10, the 5, and stuff like that. And so what you were good at, when you weren't punting a whole lot, obviously you were hitting the bombs, but you were a guy that walked out there and changed the game and kickoff because you have to respect somebody that will take any risk possible to do something for his team. And you were able to do that. You changed the kickoff, especially the onside game. And right now, I think you'd be making a living doing it because we don't have the same rules. As you know, those percentages have gone way down. Pat McAfee, get back here.
No, listen, this is about you. This is not about me. I mean, people would argue greatest onside kicker of all time. I mean, that's
all time. You can say it now.
I can say it now. I can say it now because onside kicks are basically done for. But let's get back to you. How long have you been punting now for the Chiefs?
This will be my 16th season. Just got done with 15, so it's been blessed to stay all in Kansas City. It's not fun. I feel like it's a little bit of Game of Thrones. Winter is coming in Kansas. Every year you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do another winter, but it's a lot of fun. I've loved it. The fans obviously here are second to none. Arrowhead Stadium has been cool, and man, how deserving of our fans. They waited, I waited 15 years for a Super Bowl. They waited 50 in this city.
Yeah.
So it was cool to kind of finally be a part of delivering that, and the parade was great. And it was unbelievable. This offseason's been great, except for the brakes that have been put on the country with this COVID-19. I hope everybody's healthy, and I know that that's why we do stuff like that. Is you see a lot of people doing stuff, and TI Scrubs is a really cool Kansas City-based company that makes all their materials antimicrobial and that they're safe. And we wanted to just kind of make blessings for people that are leaving their houses and going into war zones every day in these hospitals for these people.
Good man. I mean, just on Tuesday, if you missed it, $25,000 donation of scrubs to Children's Hospital in Kansas City. Dustin Colquitt, good guy, been there for 16 years. You saw a lot lot of bad football over there for a while. What has been the big cultural change, you think, aside from getting Patrick Mahomes? Because Alex Smith was on a heater too. I mean, let's not get crazy. When Alex Smith was told to leave to go to Washington and we're going to hand over the reins to Patrick Mahomes, a lot of people thought that was insane outside of Kansas City. I think in Kansas City, everybody kind of knew. But what has been the big culture shift in behind the scenes that Andy Reid has really brought to that place?
You're right. That wasn't a safe change. It's one of those things you say. Alex Smith won his first 9 games as a Kansas City Chiefs, and we pretty much made the playoffs every year he was here, except for the second year. And like you said, I've seen so much bad football. Like sometimes during these games, the funnest part was seeing you at a pregame in Indianapolis, going, "Hey, buddy, how are you?" And then the rest of the game, we were punting and leading the league in 3 and outs. I think the biggest change has been, Andy Reid, what he's been able to kind of bring in. I know that's cliche, but Dave Tobe, now with Spags coming in and changing our defense in year one, getting guys that are just amazing to watch on the field that played a next level in a Super Bowl. Honey Badger, Frank Clark, there's the list kind of goes on with those guys. And I think that, I quoted a couple years ago and said that, Andy Reid, basically you can see everything that he puts down on paper and puts on a whiteboard. Pat can go out there and make it happen. Our Pat, not you.
No, I can't. I don't know Andy. Yeah, I've never seen his dry erase board.
But Mahomes can literally just make happen what Andy Reid thinks up, and so that's why our offense has been successful. Guys have stayed and wanted to play and be a part of that offense, and it's been literally fun to watch.
Do you think that when Andy Reid made that decision to move forward with Patrick Mahomes, he knew what you just said there? Like, hey, we have Alex Smith is really good, but we have a guy that we've seen on practice. By the way, I would like to hear what he was like on the practice field against that defense whenever Alex Smith was starting. I assume there was more than one person that was on the Chiefs defense who would get smoked on a daily basis that was like, we need this guy to potentially play. But do you think that's why Andy Reid chose Patrick Mahomes? Like, what were the indicators you think leading into that decision to move on from Alex Smith, who just statistically I think had his best year, and move on with Patrick Mahomes, this guy that nobody really knew outside of Kansas City?
I think it's exactly what you said. You know how when we get done kicking, we sit there and watch our offense, our 7-on-7, our pat and go, all those things. And I think when you watch Pat, he's sitting here, he's supposed to be throwing interceptions to our number one defense, right? And he's shredding them at practice. And we're going like, what's going on? And so we made the playoffs that last year of Alex's tenure in Kansas City. And so Andy Reid basically says, look, you have 3 days to prep. You're starting the Denver Broncos game in Denver.
Okay.
And so everybody's kind of looking around going like, this should be interesting. 3 days of prep. If you're a backup in Andy Reid's system, you don't get a whole lot of reps except for what you're doing. You're setting up the first team defense. And so we sat there and watched Pat. We're going like, oh my gosh, he's making throws that Joe Montana, some of these Peyton Mannings, Tom Brady makes, and he's also getting tackles and pulling out of them like Ben Roethlisberger and still getting the ball downfield. And so it's fun watching a quarterback that can do these different things down the field, pick them apart, but also rally guys when something bad happens and brings them over there and says, hey, we still need you, get your head back in the game, and comes over to the heater and talks to a kicker and says, hey, that was a pretty good punt, but I really don't want you kicking anymore.
So he just has all the intangibles. It feels like he's the one almost. And now, granted, they're talking about paying him $200 million. Can't do that this offseason. You guys don't have enough salary cap. But he's already won a Super Bowl. He's won an MVP. He's so young. I mean, it feels as if he's the guy. I mean, the world has never seen anything like this Patrick Mahomes phenomenon. Maybe Aaron Rodgers back in the day when Aaron came in after the Brett Favre, the throws that Aaron could make and the athleticism and stuff like that. But what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do has been game-changing, I think.
It's been fun to watch in Kansas City, just the receptivity, because you think you're like, well, this is a safe pick. We got Alex. We know we're going to win a lot of games. It's going to be fun to watch. Those 8 home games, we're going to win them. And so when they made that change, Alex was so instrumental, because you see guys like Favre, a guy you just mentioned, and says it's not my job to get Aaron Rodgers ready, but it was Alex's job to get Pat ready. And man, he took that wholeheartedly, and everything, any information, he information shared everything. And so that was fun to watch because I was good friends with Alex. And so it was never one of those things where like, that's not my job. He took it as like, I may not be here forever. And, I'm going to give everything that knowledge wise, anything that is rubbed off on Andy, I'm going to give to Pat. And so he's ready to go when it is his time, whenever that happens.
That's
so
insane.
It was fun to watch that. He was groomed in a Major League Baseball locker room. So you got to think when he takes that Major League Baseball kind of attitude and that spunk and brings it to the football locker room. And so that it's kind of like one of those things like game day is just like, it's just another game. It's like practice. We're out there fighting for each other. And so it was fun to see that.
Yeah. Do you think baseball players, because they have 162 games, they have kind of a more, I don't want to say a laissez-faire attitude, but kind of just like, hey, it's a game. Like, yeah, we got a game. That's just the way it goes. Growing up in that world, you probably have a complete different mindset on the game day being like this Super Bowl-like feeling once a week. Whenever it's just like in your life watching your dad, it's like, yeah, every night's Showtime, basically.
Yeah, I think he watched the original Showtime and his father, and he just said, look, this is what my dad was like on game days. That's how I'm going to be. Now, there is an intensity to football that he brings because you have to. It's two completely different sports, but I think that his swag coming into the preparation of the week, it's funny when you see his interviews of a game week are completely different than an off-season workout. And to say the guy hasn't changed is very true. I spend a lot of time with him, and I do things with him all the time here in the city. And if I text him, he'll text me back within 10 minutes. He always has time for people, and that's the coolest thing about Pat is he makes it a point to go and find that person that can't give anything to him back, but he wants to give everything in that experience and say, hey man,
he hasn't
it's cool to see that.
Hey, he hasn't got 200 million yet though. I mean, let's
that is true. I think that I've seen. He's like you said earlier. He has a Super Bowl ring. He's got the MVP, and if he hadn't changed there, I can't see money being one of those things that changes the guy. Just because he already has the endorsements. He's got the Oakley stuff. He does that. And he's still the same dude.
He's so good too. It's fun to watch. He's good for the league. Face of the league here for the next, I don't know, hopefully 15 years for you guys out there in Kansas City. I think you'll probably be able to punt for another 15 years if you had to. You're so technically sound. It is so fun to watch you bomb balls. I just want to let you know that. But a person you don't have to kick to in a game, which is very convenient, is Tyreek Hill. How do you feel about not having to punt to Tyreek Hill or Mecole Hardman ever again? Does that feel pretty good? Or
I think it's great. I think that if they ever do make me move on from the city, I'm just gonna not move on from the city, and I'm gonna take the place of that palm tree right next to you.
Hey, come on! And you can take. Hold on. You can also take. Do you know
that's our stock? That's our stock going up as I join you, bro.
Yodeling.
Let's just keep on the rise. I will say, that's an easy way to make a transition. It's fun watching, you get this all the time, so I'm not going to do it too long, but it's fun watching you bring every average Joe, every person, blue and white collar in this country together to watch a game. I know that I tune in way more when I know like, hey, Pat's on. This is going to be great. This is going to be a whole new aspect because I did radio shows and TV shows and stuff early on in Kansas City before Pioli and all that stuff kind of happened, transpired here. And it was fun bringing that whole people that wouldn't tune in to the game and really don't understand or don't fully like seeing what's going on and you have that ability to kind of bring in all of that other crowd. That's fun to watch, and it's exciting, and it's cool to see that in communities.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. I knew nothing about those college football games I was calling. Nothing. I mean, it was. And by the way, I think that was kind of an asset because I think the people that were watching also knew nothing. So when I had a question about, so this guy's good, I actually said that on air at one point, and that's like the job of a commentator is to, watch film and know these things. I was like, oh, this guy's good at one point, I said. And people were like, listening to Pat McAfee realized that I don't even remember the guy's name, is a good football player. Live on the air is kind of funny to listen. And then other people obviously hated me for that. But, I mean, there's always a balance. There's always a balance, Dustin. There's always a balance.
You're like that chart back there. You're up. It's not rolling. We're rolling. At least you're not saying a field goal is good and it's not good.
Oh, I know who you're referring to. And
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were. You're trying to get me right now. You are trying to get me to go on a rant that, the kickers and punters had been misrepresented on the mainstream media for way too long, and I kind of took it upon myself, but that's neither here nor there. How are you punting balls? Are you still punting balls? Have you started yet? What does your offseason look like?
Yeah, definitely. I got four ball shaggers with. I got 4 boys.
Smart.
And the first 2, Brinkley's 13, Colston's 11. My 11-year-old actually can turn over footballs better than I can. I think.
So you're creating the next generation of Colquitt punters.
I'm trying to. I mean, I always I get these calls and these tryouts. I'm like, hey, start your own kicking camp. You and Patch. And I'm like, listen, Pat's been camping below all the other trying to chain. I can't.
That's always a funny thing because, and just like Alex Smith was teaching guys, that's not something. A lot of people that do Kansas City to bring another person in who also.
That we've had. Jack Fox was in camp with us last year. Had a huge leg. I mean, I saw him hit a set where he was like 5'6'5".
Oh. It's a hang time, by the way.
I mean, it was like some of these. You're just like, I have never seen anything like that, and it's one of those things where, as you hit a ball 4.5 to 4.8, and they're all 4.5 and 4.8. You're good, as opposed to having a 5.6, a 4.5, and a 3.5.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be the standard from now on. I'll have somebody in camp, and they're going to try to go younger every year. But only being 31, I'm not that old right now anyway.
How old are you?
31.
How many years did you say?
Albert Pujols.
Oh, okay.
If he's 31, I'm 31.
Ladies and gentlemen, an absolute gentleman. I appreciate watching you, man. You're so talented. It's been a lot of fun. I'm happy all those years of patience finally paid off, and you got a chance to get a ring. Like which one in your family? Somebody in your family has a Super Bowl ring. Right?
I was the only one. My dad had 2 for the Steelers, 13 and 14, and then Britton had Super Bowl 50. So I was literally the only male Colquitt that didn't have one in my. I was good all the way up into the game. I punted in pregame, and then they shot this stat up in the stadium in Miami, and it said, if Dustin is able to win, he joins his and I'm like, oh, you're gonna do that to me? Oh my gosh!
Hey, it's all right. Rub your little 11-year-old's face in it. Tell him he's got no Super Bowl rings and to go shag some balls. You know what I mean?
I heard it my whole life.
Ladies and gentlemen, Super Bowl champion Dustin Colquitt. Thank you, Dustin. For the brand.
Thanks,
Great for the brand. Cheers, man. Hey, he's a lefty, so it's hard to watch his film and learn from. Mm-hmm. He looks so effortless. It was like Phil Mickelson. How Phil Mickelson's a lefty. He looks so smooth. Mm-hmm. That's what Colquitt looks back. He's sitting back. It's double my career, by the way, 16 years.
He's got 4 more punters in his arsenal coming out, too.
Hey, that's what happens with that Colquitt family, by the way, which is very smart. Kevin Huber, punter for the Bengals. I asked him one day in pregame, I was like, when did you start punting? He was like 8th grade or something like that. I was like, I started my rookie year. Probably should have started when I was a little bit younger. Probably would help a little bit.
Would it have helped a bunch if you would have started punting early?
It would have been nice to know what I was doing the first 3 years of my NFL career. You know what I mean? It would have been. I would walk out there. I would hit a ball. It was a shank. I didn't know why. I'd hit a bomb the next time. I didn't know why. It was I don't know why that one worked and that one didn't until year 4 or 5, and then it was okay, now we're starting to kind of understand this thing. And then it got boring. So, it's just it's an interesting – I was very thankful, obviously, to be in the NFL. But guys like the Colquitts are people that, teach you how to do stuff. He's a good guy.
Still won punter of the decade, too. Gotta love it.
Hey, only had 4 or 5 good years. You know what I mean? That's half a decade, by the way.
Yeah.
The NFL leaving me off of that. I'm not happy about it. Shane Leckler is the GOAT, okay? Greatest of all time. Think he needs to go in the Hall of Fame. But from 2010 to 2020, come on, guys. Let's have a little bit of respect. Let's have a little bit of respect. I love Shane. Any award Shane gets, I feel like I get alongside of it because he's one of us. He's down there hammering beers right now in Texas. I love that Shane Leckler got it. And Hecker's a good guy, too. 3 punters of a decade, not too bad. 10 years, we can share it. Theirs is officially from the NFL, so it counts a lot more than mine does from Pro Football Focus that gave us a hoodie. In 10 years from now, if Pro Football Focus is still alive, it's going to mean a lot more.
Yeah.
The NFL will still be alive. You know what I mean? So I am pulling hard for Pro Football Focus to last as long as possible. It's like Scout.com. Does it still exist?
I don't know.
See, I was Scout.com All-American, so if that company just dies off, I can't even say I was an All-American anymore.
We're still good.
Still alive. Okay. We need the same for Pro Football Focus. If we can, we need to support that for at least another 10 years so I could have something to my title.
Scouts owned by CBS Sports, so that, I mean.
CBS Sports Radio right now. Look at this world coming full circle here.
Wow.
I was ranked like 100 and something, and I went down to Miami that one weekend, kicked a 65-yard field goal. Next morning, first team All-American.
What's up? What's up?
What a joke. Second hour, we will have Lane Johnson. Jason Kelsey referred to him. Lane can't stay off the juice in his celebration thing. And Lane has gone on to be a legend. He interviewed Tyson Fury, I believe, before his last fight. I can't wait to chat with him. He's being trained by a guy that I'm friends with named Gabe. Should be a good conversation. Also, we'll get to some phone calls in the second hour and YouTube questions. Not a bad Thursday, April 16th. One day after the big news from Jay Glazer. We'll have a big hour, second hour, on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, it is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick national championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got third or fourth out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6, on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point. Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing and I literally just looked at him. And I gave him like a, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We don't have it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field, and Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. And good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's.
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking. That's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reed, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but You
Ed
would not have
Reed, I
survived
would
that.
have feared Ed Reed. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reed in that C gap, absolutely. E.D. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reed.
No. Ed Reed would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh my God.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream House is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down on the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Lead the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big body. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Cracking fits, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. That's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this.
It's the perfect occasion for mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right it is, Chase Rice, you handsome son of a bitch. At Nick Moraldo's here rocking his Lefko sweater, looking fantastic.
Shout out Lefko.
Shout out Lefko. Adam Lefko of Bleacher Report, talented man on microphone, started as a news analyst who rapped Snoop Dogg during the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, the hip hop newscaster.
Come up is real. Then he gets in Bleacher Report, has a show with Chris Sims, friend of the show, back being a friend of the show, Chris Sims. Was off the island for a little bit because took a swipe across the bow for no reason. Then Lefko, Chris Sims goes to NBC. Lefko does his own thing, blows up. Now he's the host of that Tuesday night
Inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA with Dwayne Wade, Candace Parker, Shaquille O'Neal. Happy for Lefko, but he wears that same sweater that Nick Moraldo is wearing right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Lefko sweater. It's in honor of him.
Did you buy it because of Lefko?
It looked like one he would wear, and then I did see pictures of him wearing it. So, ipso facto, yes.
So you see Adam Lefko, you go, you know what? I want to wear what that guy's wearing.
There's a guy who knows how to dress well. That's a guy you can look up to.
Another guy that knows how to dress well, at Tone Diggs. No more turtlenecks. We got good T-shirts on. How are you, Tone?
I feel really good today. Today's a good day.
1 week ago, you began your 40-mile, 24-hour treadmill challenge.
I did.
And you have recovered much better than anybody could have fathomed.
I did have an intense shooting pain in the back of my knee today in the shower, but I don't know where that came from.
Did you go down?
That could just be I went against the wall. But
the wall in the shower is one of the most disgusting places on earth.
That could just be 32.
Yeah, it is. Hemorrhoids, yep.
I've had before, not in a couple years.
Smart. Smart. When you turn 30, those happen. So everybody under 30 can look forward to that. At Ty Schmitz here. How old are you?
I'm turning 30 this year.
You've already.
But trust me, hemorrhoids ain't nothing compared to what I've been dealing with the last 12, 15 years.
You were our the guy we were worried about potential COVID-19 attacking because your body has been attacking itself for the last decade or so.
Yeah, I was worried about it too. I mean, like I said, I had H1N1, so if anyone was going to get COVID-19, it was going to be me.
Yeah, for sure. At Jason McAfee's here. He does not have H1N1 or COVID-19. At Viva Lazito's here going Don Don. He's making an entire remix of songs as if he's Kids Bop. Zito Bops. At Evan Fox is here rocking an incredible sweater. And over his right shoulder is the goalie for the Boston Bruins, Boston Connor.
They needed me in the game, boys. I'm in the game now.
You put your headphones on the outside of the mask after your efforts to put them on over the earphones failed in the first hour.
I was on the bench, eh? Now I'm back there. Oh, gee, I thought I had a puck coming in there.
People say high glove side is your weakness too, pal.
My weakness, not even a chance. Look at that reaction there, pal. I won't miss a thing.
Well, nobody in the history of existence has ever been near your 5-hole, so that's not a problem. Is that accurate?
You're not lying, brother.
Are you back on Snapchat still?
Oh, I'm crushing the Snapchat there, eh? Good times. A lot of sorries in there.
What does that mean?
You know what it means. A lot of sorries. I'm facing a lot of goalies, and let me tell you, I'm not scoring at all.
Just a complete goose egg, huh?
A lot of goose eggs. Absolute donut holes. I'm getting nothing, my man.
All right. Let's move on. If you call the show 1-833-622-3331, that's the maniac that will answer the phone. Lane Johnson will be joining us in 25 minutes. Jay Glazer got ratioed last night for the first time in a long time. Jay Glazer, known insider, known guy who has good relationships around the NFL, a man who has broken a litany, a plenty of great news, and he teased for 36 hours a news story that came out, and the world did not believe it was as big as the big that he prefaced it with, and he kind of got ratioed. It turns out, though, a nice piece of information was released by Jay Glazer. Maybe not big news. Brian Allen, who you didn't know this, plays for the Los Angeles Rams, center, number 55, don't normally see that, has had COVID-19 for the last 3 weeks. He lost his sense of smell, his sense of taste, and he said as of today he should be healthy. Very happy for our guy, Brian Allen. Attaboy, Brian!
Thanks, Brian. Good work, Brian. That's it.
Couldn't smell anything for a few days.
Yeah.
Couldn't taste anything. That's a wild side effect of a virus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a friend whose lady had it, and she said that she couldn't smell or taste anything, and they brought out a bottle of tequila and said, prove it, and she just housed the tequila and then swooshed it around her mouth and then swallowed it again. Now, granted, she was blacked out shortly after that with a fever, I'd assume, but she couldn't even taste any. It was complete. And he said, Brian Allen told Jay Glazer, smelling salts to the nose, nothing at all. That's a wild side effect to have. So not only do you get like a fever, do you feel sick, potential death, also you can't smell or taste anything while being in quarantine. I don't think there's anything worse than this son of a bitch, COVID-19, honestly.
No chicken soup even.
No.
Well, you can have it. You just don't know.
Yeah, true.
Because all you know is the texture. You could be getting urine in there. You won't even know.
Yeah.
Might as well be hot water.
Might as well. It probably was, by the way. What would you do? And if you can't smell, you can't taste, right?
I'd probably eat healthy.
Incredible crash diet.
I'd eat healthy.
Oh, yeah. Give me the kale.
Can't taste it anyways.
Give me that other terrible stuff, tofu. Send me in the bland-ass tofu. Raisins. I'll take that.
Raisins are
You don't
delicious.
like raisins?
You don't like raisins?
See.
Raisins.
I like grapes.
Little box?
I like it before they dry them out.
Yeah, you don't like how they punish the grapes.
Yeah, keep them healthy.
Yeah, keep them healthy and delicious.
I will tell you, though, I would enjoy not having a sense of smell. Not for obvious reasons, but...
Well, I think we would.
we too.
We would, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of got buried there quickly. But
No, that's why I follow with the obvious reasons, and that was the obvious reasons that Nick said.
Well, Nick didn't say it, but he has said it in the past on a very regular occasion. Yeah. Nick has kind of turned into a little bit of a bully for Zito, hasn't he?
Yeah,
as has everyone.
And Connor and
No.
Evan.
What?
Evan and Connor?
No, I'm saying Nick attacks Pretty much everyone, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fat dude, so I mean, you just kind of have to let it go sometimes.
So, see what Connor did there was attack himself before the bully could get him.
Yeah, I'm very much equal opportunity. Anyone can.
No, it started when you're wearing that sweater.
Oh, you saying Lefko is a bad effect on
Nick
it?
Lefko over there.
Not good. Can't have that, Nick. By the way, you want to go talk to H&R afterwards about the way you've been handling yourself around here?
And do your taxes while you're at it.
Zeke, go hit the showers.
I already did this morning. It took me 30 minutes.
He was a little bit later. He was a little bit
yeah.
later today. There was a lot of calls to question whether or not he showered yesterday. This morning, he showed up very late, and not late in the sense of things. Zito time, he was late.
Yeah.
And everybody, I asked, I was like, Zito, what happened? You hit snooze a couple times? He said 30-minute shower this morning.
Oh, it felt good.
Oh, yeah, Zito. Huh?
I think showers should have a slide. It should be a pool.
Okay. Let's see how this would work. So just every shower would have
Like a slide. So you go first level, second level.
so you have a ladder inside the shower.
Oh, yeah.
And that thing spirals down in your shower.
Wouldn't showers be fun?
Showers are fun.
Showers are great.
Showers are
Add a slide. Extra fun.
How big is your house?
Well, it's Zito. Zito's a billionaire. We all know that. The shower is like my meditation place, I think. My lady does the actual meditation. I think Connor does as well. I haven't been able to figure it out. And to be honest, 32 years, I'm completely defeated by meditation. Haven't been able to wrangle the brain to shut down for whatever it is, 12, 15 minutes, no matter how soft the guy or girl is speaking on the app that I'm listening to or the waves crushing. I got there close. I was close the last time I gave it a go. And then my dog, the corgi, pooped in the house, barked, and I wasn't mentally tough enough to battle through it. Sam was right next to me in that meditative coma, and I'm sitting there like, do you not hear our dog just pooping and barking all over the place? She's mentally tough enough to battle through it. I wasn't mentally tough to battle through it. Then I heard Tom Brady talk to Howard Stern, and he said that Giselle loves meditating. He's more of an active meditator. He said when he's in the gym, he gets into his state of meditation. So that opened up to my eyes. I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't understand my meditation. Maybe I am an active meditator. And then I learned when I was in the shower, like a couple days ago, I was like drifting off or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is meditating. I just did it. I think I just did it. And then my fingers were crinkly and I had to figure it out. But I feel like that is where I get a lot of stuff done. Zito, I'm kind of disappointed you don't enjoy the shower. It's a fun place to be.
No, I do enjoy it, but let's make it more enjoyable at a slide.
Okay.
I haven't done the study yet, but I am under the impression that your IQ rises anywhere from 10 to 20 points while you're in the shower.
And your singing gets
much better.
Oh, my God.
Exponentially.
Good,
Opera singer.
good acoustics in there.
Tell me something, girl. Oh, when that thing starts rattling around. Are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? I'm falling. We did good there.
With all the... All right, my bad.
There's a goalie in the back.
Team's on the other side of the ice here, boys. I'm enjoying this big
pal,
time.
stick tap for you back there, pal. You really started going well.
Oh, big time, yeah.
MJ says that people think he's a horrible guy after watching The Last Dance. Then that led to an onslaught of tweets from people I assume that have met MJ that said that MJ's PR team is the greatest PR team in the history of PR teams, that the narrative has been spun that MJ is a good guy. Now, I think we had a little bit of a contentious conversation before we got on air, to be 100% honest with you, because I think the narrative has always been that if you want to be that elite or great, you kind of have to have a little bit of a hole of the ass inside of you. And I can understand that people think that you have to demand greatness from other people whenever you're around them. If you want to go up to, you can't do A+ stuff with D+ people. I mean, that is just something that is a real fact. But I think outside of the realm of competition, the way you treat people and talk to people is something that really carries the narrative of whether or not you're a hole of the ass or not. And I think the amount of stories, none of them have ever been verified. The stories, though, that would trickle out from people about their encounters with Michael Jordan would sometimes make you think like, oh, this guy's a mean person. But he's Michael Jordan. I'd assume a lot of people have asked for things from that guy. So I'm excited to see how The Last Dance showcases him as a hole of the ass in his eyes. I'm kind of pumped to see how that, because I assume he was ruthless on the practice court. I assume he treated his teammates in a terrible fashion sometimes, which was probably his way of thinking to draw the best out of somebody. Very similar to, I guess, what Kobe would do to people. But I think outside of that world is where you really get judged whether or not you're a mean guy. And I'll be excited to see if The Last Dance touches on any of that stuff.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You can be and ask a lot of your teammates on the court and stuff like that. But what we're saying is, you could be a nice person off of the court.
Yeah,
to the public, general public.
You could be a good person, I think. Well, you look at like Tom Brady.
Oh, well, he is the baddest mother lover in the world. So,
That's in the locker room. Then you listen to him on Howard Stern. He's cackling, he's giggling, he's selling avocado ice cream. You haven't heard of him potentially, not tipping or walking out on tabs on a regular basis and things like that. I'm not saying MJ did any of those things, but I'm saying those are the things I think that lead to people thinking somebody's a bad guy as opposed to what they do in their competitive sport. I just personally, I feel like in that realm of competition, there's different ways to do things. I don't think you have to be that ass and like mean to people to bring out the best, but I've seen it work. I've seen it work. Rich Rodriguez was a very demanding coach, but he brought out the best in a lot of guys, I would assume, that did not love him, and we did not love him at the time, but our team rose to the occasion on plenty. So sometimes there's things that you look at, you're like, oh, I don't love the way this guy operates in the locker room or on the practice field, but I think outside of there is where people really get judged.
Did Peyton Manning ever, did he ever like take it up a notch, or did you ever see him kind of get after somebody?
Yeah, oh yeah. There's the mic'd up moment where he almost got into a fist fight with who? Jeff
Saturday,
like
all time.
But you got to remember, all time.
All time.
Dude.
Hey, why don't you just block, Jeff?
let alone Peyton in practice, restarting it.
Wait, that was in the game?
Kicking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was in the middle of the game. They had him mic'd up, and Tariq Glenn, I think, came over, and that was when Peyton was like, okay, all right. Like backed off because that is a massive man. But I think in practice, obviously, he's very demanding on the field. I've seen him tell people to get off the field. Like, I think that's why in that world, I think you were judged differently than whenever you're out there. He invited a 21-year-old kid to go golfing with him one of the first weeks he's ever met him. Like, I think Peyton Manning off the field, by all accounts, a lot of people say nice guy, good guy, does a lot of good stuff. Charity has a hospital named after him here for the donation. All that stuff. But in the realm of competition, I think everybody can potentially flip a switch. So I'm excited to see how MJ thinks that people are going to think he's a horrible guy. Is it because of what he did when he was competing? Because I think as an athlete, I'm like, hey, you do what you got to do. Your results speak for yourself. But outside of there, if you're a bad guy, I think that's when people really start, like, oh, this guy stinks.
Can we go ahead and say, though, that his PR team's already getting ahead of this and try to make him look like a bad guy, but then you're going to watch it and be like, oh, he's actually not that bad.
Oh, you think they're, like, setting it?
Yeah, so, like, putting the standard, like, oh, this guy's be horrible. And then you're like, oh, he wasn't that bad, actually.
By the way, Smart.
PR team, I tell you, that's the GOAT, baby.
They're good PR team.
And by the way, that PR team has been getting a lot of tweets about how good they've spun the narrative for a long time. Now here they are setting a precedent, like, oh, he's going to be a despicable guy after people watch it. You watch it, you're like, oh, he's not that bad. And the PR team's like,
we did it. NASA.
Accomplished. That's wild to think about.
Well, his teammates, you got to think if he thinks that people are going to, depict him as horrible, his teammates are probably ragging on him a little bit.
I don't know.
Well, that's what will be interesting to see because obviously those guys respect the athlete he was, but there's been plenty of stories that come out. Like, I don't think a lot of those guys respect him as a human being.
Well, a lot of those people, though, should be very grateful.
Oh, and I'm sure they are.
Which I think, like, there's numerous stories about superstars not getting along whenever they're on the same team. But then as time heals all wounds, you move back, you look back, you're like, I needed that guy. Mm-hmm. He needed me. Like, I would assume in this Last Dance documentary, there's maybe some things said by players, but I think the ultimate thing in the end is going to be like, we were lucky that MJ was on our team.
I would assume a lot of this stuff, too, because it's like locker room footage. Like, a lot of these guys might be like, oh, I don't even remember that happening. Like, that's crazy. Like, it might open up some fresh wounds, actually.
Yeah. Oh, my God. You should have seen what he did after that.
Yeah.
Tell us more. Robin Roberts, is that her name?
Yep.
She did an interview with him where he seemed very calm, mellow. He's promoting the Last Dance documentary that's coming out on Sunday. Two of the 10 part documentary will come out on Sunday at 9. Is that PM or AM?
It's got to be PM.
So 9 and 10.
Why are they doing that?
Maybe that's how they get away with allowing F-bombs on ESPN.
I believe
if it's after 9 o'clock.
Oh, is that the cutoff time?
I believe that's how some.
Because, by the way, if that's the case, I got some shows to pitch.
Yeah.
To ESPN. Mm-hmm. I got some shows to pitch. If this is going to be the new standard, by the way, I like it. I like what we're doing, ESPN, because in the world of sports, by the way, there are some language that maybe enhances things or is used in a very common fashion. On ESPN, they'll have the unedited one, and then on ESPN2, they'll have it without the naughty word, says Jimmy Traina of Sports Illustrated.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Why not ESPN2?
Yeah, you would think it would be flipped.
ESPN wants the ratings.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to hear Michael Jordan dropping F-bombs on people and Steve Kerr saying, "Oh, get out of my face," I'm in for it. What's up, Z?
Look at the FCC rules online. 6 to 10 p.m. is like the time where you can't swear on television or radio.
Because there's a reasonable risk that children may be in the audience.
So they might have got 9 p.m. out of it.
So, you think they worked the FCC? No, they did.
FCC ain't got nothing on me.
No, I said hell one time on air, and somebody showed up in my ear and was like, "Be careful with that." I'm like, hell? I can't say hell. And Dawn in our ear just said we're forgetting that it's Disney, which Disney owns everything now, though.
Yeah. Yep.
Disney owns everything now.
They own the FCC.
Disney owns a lot of movies that a lot of actors who get on their Instagrams and Twitters and just let F words fly all the time. I'm happy, though, by the way. If it's Disney kind of forcing FCC to stop being Gestapo with the way world should be, I'm a big fan of Disney making that move, and I like that they're doing this.
Also, do you think if it wouldn't have been for the quarantine and the current situation that it would have still aired unedited, like when they originally planned? It would have been
completely edited.
Yeah.
That's and you know why? It's probably because the internet happens.
Yeah.
Right? All these shows now are internet shows. You watch that Jay Glazer show last night, that was an internet show. He had his iPhone set up from his, I don't know if his basement or living room or whatever it was. He was talking into it, FaceTiming with Sean McVay. Greeny is FaceTiming with Orlovsky every morning. I mean, everything is now internet shows. The only advantage of being on the internet is you don't have to deal with the FCC. And I would assume the ESPN's like, hey, if we want to make this like a real good thing, we should be able to do this. And maybe they got to run the FCC, or maybe it's not in the first hour, the first documentary. Maybe the second documentary at 10 o'clock is the one where they really start letting it fly.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
Because they did say, too, there's a lot of MJ as a kid, so they might have that first hour being just a build-up to him at North Carolina.
So, like, back in the day, WWE Raw, that 10 p.m. to 11 o'clock hour was always the best hour.
Chaos, yeah.
It was absolute. As soon as 10 o'clock hit, it's like, all right, here we go. If I ever get a chance to work for the WWE, like really actually do stuff for them, and granted now is not a good time to even think about that because who knows what's going to happen with WWE, I would like to be known as Mr. 10 p.m. At 10 p.m., things are going down.
Come out. All kids in bed?
Oh, night, mother. 20 minutes after the hour, we got to get to a break. We got Lane Johnson in 9 minutes. Can't wait to talk to him. Yeah, this is Thursday, April 16th. We'll get to some YouTube questions during the break. YouTube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. We just crossed 10,000 concurrent viewers.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Pat McAfee Show. Every once in a while, we like to dive deep into the annals of the most positive place on the internet, the YouTube comment section for YouTube Question!
YouTube question.
Go ahead, Zito. Let's make it happen, bub.
Anthony Frost. YouTube question. He says, Pat, I see you rocking that Zach Brown band merch. What is your favorite song by them, and who is your favorite performer you've ever seen live?
Okay, so I don't do a lot of concerts, but Zach Brown, I've been to a few. I'm a big fan of the Zach Brown band. I like the way they operate. In this shirt, when I went to a concert, they did an eat and greet, which is a very, very smart move. If you ever come to one of our shows in the future, if we ever have another one, look for that to be the remedy for the VIP situation. You eat before the concert in a buffet style, and every member of the band is at a different buffet station dumping it onto your plate. And Zach's at the end with whatever it is, and he gives you like a, hey, thanks for coming, man. And then there's no pictures, no autographs. Everybody's in line. Get back to your seats. He gives like a speech. There's a little Q&A, and then he goes out and does his concert. concert, and I just had so much respect for the way they were operating. When I walked outside and I saw the $75 shirt, I was like, let me get it. Let me get it. I was a little boozed up, too. I think Zach Brown's good. I mean, the Highway 20 is a great song. You know I like my chicken fried. Great song. Toes in the water. Ass in the sand's a good song. But if you really want to get deep with one, you want to get some vitamins, The Day That I Die is a good one. It's talking about how Zach Brown basically loves making music. And on the day that he dies, he hopes they find me in my home. Guitar in my hand. I hope they find me in my home. My guitar in my hand. Yeah, I like that. Just because it's a little bit realer. And I like music that makes me think about stuff. And I think he has plenty of songs that make me go, and start thinking. I think that's what it takes. And he's a talented songwriter, which I'm a big fan of. And the son of a bitch sounds the exact same live as he does in the, which is that's not easy to do.
His covers are amazing, too, for concerts. Oh. That's always huge.
They did, what's that Virginia Tech song?
Enter Sandman.
They did Enter Sandman at this one concert. It was towards the end, too, so I was pretty boozed up. Oh, my God. I thought I was running out of the tunnel at Virginia Tech. They have this guy with it. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Zach Brown, though. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of clean clothes.
Yeah, here you are.
So I saw this one, and I was like, I haven't worn it in a long time. Haven't worn this blue in a long time, by the way. Normally, I'm a black shirt wearer. But I'm getting a little bit fitter in the body. Chin's still getting fat, the neck's getting fat, but the body's starting to come together. Maybe I can start wearing lighter colors again.
Looks good.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Or this quarantine, I'll just go back to the house and these Reese eggs that are at the house. Thank you so much in the YouTube comment section for the YouTube question. YouTube questions. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Zito has to do an ad read. Buckle up. This should be good.
Now more than ever, we know the business are grappling with incredibly challenging times. A lot of things in life and business are changing right now, and we're all adapting our new priorities. While it takes time to adjust, LinkedIn believes that we can create opportunity when our community comes together. Whether you are looking to hire for a new critical role or thinking about needs that you may have in the future, LinkedIn Jobs is here to help you. Please explore the LinkedIn Job platform. What features LinkedIn Jobs do you think are most valuable for people looking to hire? LinkedIn is an active community with over 675 million members worldwide.
Investors? Possibly you.
LinkedIn screens candidates for the hard and soft skills that you're looking for and puts your job in front of candidates looking for job opportunities like yours. All right, never mind.
What are soft skills, Zeke?
That's what I don't understand. They got rid of that part. That explains it.
Well, then you should probably get rid of that part.
You got it. With LinkedIn, you can hire the right person quickly when you need to. I'm going to call to action here.
Please do.
Yes, but
grab the phone.
When it's time to hire and find the right person, LinkedIn is here to help. Plus, if you need to hire for healthcare or essential services, you can post your job for free. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to post a job now. Terms and conditions may apply.
Woo!
Well done, Zeke.
Zito, very good. You only had to one stumble right there in the middle. It wasn't your fault.
It wasn't my fault.
No, not your fault.
They took soft skills. They should put hard skills in.
Let's speaking of, let's get to Paige in Texas. Paige, what's going on? Oh,
I knew it. I didn't feel good about this one.
Oh. Hello?
There it is.
What was that? Whoa.
No,
Paige.
No,
hold on 1 second.
It wasn't because of Paige. It was because Matt whether he is her fiance or whatever the terminology is. Matt called first, then handed the phone to Paige. So I thought there was going to be a little late on the draw.
Okay, all right. Well, Paige, it sounds like we have a sexist phone operator. What would you like to talk about, Eric, there?
I just wanted to give Zito a shout out because I love his readings by Zito, and I want to make sure that it's still happening at your wedding, Pat.
Oh.
Well, with the wedding right now, there are a lot of things to be thought about. And to be honest, I think Zito just kind of slipped under the rug. He is in, I believe, from what if I'm not mistaken. We got much bigger fish to fry with that wedding, though, Paige. All right.
Well, that was just my question. I really just wanted to hype Zito up for a minute.
I respect that. Who's Matt?
I am Matt.
Whoa.
I'm the person that got Paige on the Pat McAfee show.
Hey, Matt, I want to let you know, I thought your girl was taking a run at Zito right there. Honestly, it sounded like Paige was taking a little bit of a run at Zito.
She might be. She really likes Foxy, though.
Oh! The whole damn pub. They're moving on up too.
Not Connor.
Matt, they're moving on up. By the way, they got a new pub. They just they couldn't move in yesterday because the new landlord was so drunk he forgot to give them the keys. All right, see you guys, Matt and Paige.
Have you heard that story?
Couples that watch together, stay together.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what they say. What's that, Zito?
I don't want to get too deep into it, but I had to go pick up the key after, like 3 hours later.
You got to remember the boys in the pub, which is Zito, Foxy, and Connor. Okay, they lived in this terrible, despicable, rundown shanty of a house in Indianapolis.
A lot of grit, Rust Belt.
Yep.
No, this is not the Rust Belt.
Slanted floors.
No, it was a a trap house, is what it looked like. By the way, and by the way, those three don't even know what a trap house is. So that isn't really.
I wish it was a trap house. We'd still be in there.
They got kicked out of it though. This terrible house. They got kicked out of the house. So then they had to go find a new one in the middle of quarantine. Because the other one, they're already moving somebody else in, not upgrading it. It wasn't to kick them out to upgrade it. They just wanted them out just to have them out. So they get kicked out. Yesterday, they're supposed to pick up their keys. They're in a new place. The guy's blackout drunk, doesn't remember to come give them the keys. The boys are almost out there on the streets in the middle of a quarantine with the worldwide pandemic running.
And the doors just opened. And when Foxy showed up, it wasn't like it was locked. Like he just walked right in. There might have been homeless people sleeping in that place for the past 3 weeks.
All right. Should we do a break or should we call him? We will stay live on YouTube regardless, but should we do a radio break so we don't have to do another one?
These radio breaks.
It doesn't make any sense. Nobody's listening to the radio right now.
They're also, I feel like they only provide you half a Pizza Hut pizza. They don't even do anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The contactless pizza, by the way, I'm not 100% sure I believe in it.
It's a hoax.
Contactless.
I trust it.
Do you?
Yeah. They wouldn't lie.
They would.
Wait.
I don't think it's legally allowed to lie about that.
What is a contactless pizza?
Imagine if people found out that was a lie during these times. That would be bad.
That'd be big news.
It would. Speaking of which, tomorrow night around 9 p.m., I have some big national news that I will be breaking.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
Really?
April 17th. Friday, April 17th, around 9 or 10 or so. Big news.
At Ty Schmidt.
Yep. It'll probably be, it might be Instagram Live. I don't know. I don't really like doing that. I'm kind of sick of Instagram. It might be Twitter.
Big news.
It
this
is.
Big news.
I am fed up with the IG Live.
So am I. I'm sick of it.
Hey, call Lane. We'll just take it until 45, 50 or whatever.
Speaking of IG Live, Bernie and Cardi B might be the most electric combo in the history of IG Live.
What do you know about the How about what I enjoyed about that conversation is Bernie, whenever she cut her head up close, did you see him start doing like it was kind of, he looked like a human, you know what I mean? Most politicians don't look like humans. He looked like a human there. Cardi B's nails. I don't know how you do anything with those.
Me neither.
I mean, I respect the game, you know what I mean?
How long?
It seems like out to there.
Too long to be good back scratching nails?
I don't know how strong they are. Yeah. You know what I mean? When they get that long away from the house.
Susceptible to breaking.
Yeah.
That's why the one guy to keep him in a sack.
Yeah, that guy in India who had the world record for his nails.
Oh, those things probably smelled like a butthole.
Joining us now is a man that does not smell like a butthole, a Super Bowl champion from the Philadelphia Eagles, offensive lineman Lane Johnson.
Let's go!
Yeah! What?
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 Hey, Are y'all having a little bit too much fun in there?
Yeah, dude. We've kind of gotten stir crazy at this point. How are you? Where are you at? What have you been doing during quarantine?
Been in Oklahoma City, pretty much training. Have some friends that say they're good fishermen, talk a lot of good shit, and then we get out there and we don't catch nothing. So that's what we've been doing.
Oh, so I feel that. By the way, I've gone fishing no less than 20 times. I've never caught a fish except for one time.
Never?
Well, one fish. I'm sorry, Lake Minnetonka Miracle ice fishing. Pulled a swordfish out of their last cast, Lane.
Well, hey, you need to come down here and do some hillbilly hand fishing. I did it one time too.
I've done. Hey, I've fisted a fish before. I have fisted.
You've done it?
Yeah, burnt my back because I was bent over the entire time, right? Because you're in the water and you go and you fist the fish and then you come out the gill, right? And you pull that son of a bitch. Yeah. You guys do that in Oklahoma. I'd assume that is an everyday thing in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I had a teammate that did it that was with us, Alan Barbary. I don't know if he ever played with you, but anyways, he took me a couple of years ago and stuck my hand in there, and I was going, what the fuck? Bit me like a bulldog, and hey, we finally went in there, and the old blue cat just swallowed it whole, son. Hey, had to drag the sucker out of there.
Hey, by the way,
you know how it is.
It feels like sandpaper in there on your.
It does.
Yeah,
Hey, it's not a good feeling.
No, I agree. I got it all ripped up, but I pulled I think it was a 30-pounder, 20-pounder maybe. I pulled a big boy out.
Hey, does it get bigger each time you tell it?
Yeah. Honestly, now that I'm recollecting, I think it was like a 42-pounder.
42?
Yeah, I think it was 42 pounds. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's how it should be.
Hey, hey, Lane, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Super Bowl champion, incredibly accomplished career, an animal on the field. When Jason Kelsey just took that swipe at you in the middle of his Super Bowl celebration speech, did you lose your mind up there, or what was the thought when he just took a left hook at you?
I was so messed up. I was just going, oh shit. Then I just kept listening.
I mean, that team was something special, man. I watched the NFC. I think it was before the NFC Championship game team meeting. You guys played Meek Mill in the team meeting, and everybody in there was dancing in the team meeting. I think it was like what's that?
So everybody lost their minds?
Yes, it was awesome. You were a team that I've never seen a team that loose before a massive game. That Eagles team, it was like a team of destiny almost, with the dogs, the mask and everything like that. What is your recollection of that run?
I don't know. It was almost like the perfect recipe. I remember before that season started, you could see it at OTAs. You know, you get back to OTAs, you can kind of see what kind of team you're going to have. And, you know, I've been in the league 5-6 years at a time, and I knew we had a shot, so it was really about staying healthy. But Carson went down after that happened, and when we got in the playoffs, it was almost like we had that nothing to lose still. So the pressure was off because we weren't expected to be there. So it made it a lot easier on ourselves, I feel like.
Yeah.
And we had guys like Chris Long, Torrey. We had a bunch of good vets that were, that have been in games like this before, Malcolm. And so they kind of, it was, you could just feel it.
Was there anything weird with Carson and Foles behind the scenes? Do you think Carson ever got jealous at all of the way things were going then?
No, not jealous. I just think he wanted to be out there. Really to set back from the injury. I mean, that's really it, just because he's such a workhorse in the weight room and everything he does. So that I knew he was dying to be back out there. And that's really it, just because of the season that he was having at the time.
You guys got slapped in the mouth with the injury bug last year. I mean, it was towards the end of the season there. You guys, Carson and you boys were winning games.
We were just getting sniped out there. I don't know what the hell was going on.
Literally, that's really what it felt like. And Carson Wentz was getting judged, obviously, on everything that he does, and he will until he wins another Super Bowl, by the way, because of what happened with Nick Foles.
You know how it is.
That's exactly how it is. There's no other conversation to have, really, about anybody, let alone if the CFL players are on the field at the end of the season.
It don't matter.
McDonald's workers. If Carson Wentz doesn't win, they should have had Nick Foles. What have you learned about Carson Wentz, and what makes him such a great player in those moments when it feels like nothing can go right?
Man, he's just very resilient. I've just seen throughout the injuries and, throughout the criticism, which he's had a lot of, he's never really battered or showed, any signs of it getting to him. I just think, like I was saying earlier, he's a workhorse as far as the weight room and how he goes about his day. So I think he stays so busy and so consumed with what he does that he drowns out a lot of the distractions. And then far as I think, he likes to prove naysayers wrong just with, this year, a lot of questions coming in, and then he did what he did with the limited cast members out there. So I think that speaks volumes, and I think moving forward, he's going to have that edge to him.
You're a 3-time Pro Bowler, an absolute monster. I guess you're 9 years in, 8 years, 9 years in? 8 years in. What are you doing to change your game now that you're getting kind of older? Anything?
Man, it's just a lot more flexibility stuff. I've been concentrating a lot on the feet. You take a lot of pounding down there, your feet and ankles. That's what I've been rolled up on the past 2 years. So dealing with high ankle sprains. So just getting that back. When you have those injuries, you got to go back in and kind of break up the scar tissue, and it kind of gets old and, doing some of that stuff. So that's what I've been doing, man. Just breaking up some scar tissue, and that's about it.
With the metal? Is it with the metal?
No, man, I've been a lot on the slant boards. We do that. We do some speed work and stuff like that. So playing on that one side, you get so asymmetrical during the season. So you just really try to balance all that stuff back out when you in the off season.
That metal wand. There's this metal wand that is used to break up scar tissue. It
like
is
a piezo wave.
Oh, dude, it is cruel and unusual punishment. I had 3 surgeries, whatever, in 4 seasons. And I would, I'd get the surgery and I'm like, okay, kind of cool. I get to be bedridden here for a couple of days. Let me binge watch some things. And then when you get back into the rehab and they're like, all right, let's teach you how to move the knee again. Let's do that. And at the end, all right, we're going to do 5 minutes of breaking up your scar tissue. And they pull out this metal wand and it's like, no, do not do that to me right now. Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, then at the first couple of times, they start waving in front of you.
Have you been able to work out over there in Oklahoma City aside from failing at fishing?
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to do. We got access to a gym. It's not far down the road, so me and a couple buddies go in there and get after it.
What have you been?
So my guys, just some of my friends back home, they don't not playing ball anymore, but whatever I'm doing, damn it, hey, you better be doing it too.
You got guys just puking in that weight room, I bet.
They're getting after it. Hey, we all got to suffer somehow.
Making some savages during the quarantine. I absolutely.
We're trying to. I said, whatever you're doing, at least you're going to be yoked walking around doing it.
What have you been learning about the virtual OTAs and stuff like that? Has anybody told you what the hell that's going to consist of?
It's going to be like this. So I guess our coach is going to be who's really a hands-on type of guy, so he hates this shit. But it's going to be an adjustment for everybody. So we'll see how it goes. I can call you back in a few weeks and give you a report on how that's going.
Please.
So just all FaceTime for us the meetings, and I think we may be recording our workouts too. I'm not totally sure on that, but yeah, that'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, make sure you get your 2 friends in there too in the videos. Get the Eagle Scouts. You might get somebody signed out there.
Hey. Sounds about right.
You got the chance to meet Tyson Fury. Was that one of the most interesting humans you've ever encountered?
Yeah, and it was like it was such a tense feeling, because the locker rooms were right beside each other, 10 foot apart. So you got Wilder's team and you got Fury's family. And so really, a lot of the guys were kind of on edge. I guess the family members, just the weigh-ins. So it was really a brief, meet and greet. But he was cool. He was, you could tell he was funny right off the bat. Super tall, rangy. You could just tell. You can see it in his eyes. He's a killer in there. So that was cool, man. I liked his story. Kind of where he came back from. Him ballooning up to 400 pounds, getting on, drug addiction, this, that, and other. Coming back, I thought it was pretty neat. So interesting dude.
I wish I knew more about him before this fight. I went down a rabbit hole with Tyson Fury.
Yeah. So basically, how he got notoriety is that he beat Vladimir Klitschko, who was like undefeated Russian fighter or Ukrainian fighter for like 15 years. And so he ended up beating him and then reclaimed the title, failed a drug test, lost it all, then came back.
Why does that happen, Lane? Why is that?
Hey, I don't know. Hey, sometimes you do, you remember Forrest Gump? You say stupid is, stupid does?
Yeah.
There you go.
Lane can't stay off the juice. Lane Johnson can't stay off the juice. And then he went right to the next person. I was like, damn, does Lane know that Jason Kelsey's just screaming that in front of a couple 100,000 people?
Keep it rolling.
Hey, that was a beautiful team. You're a beautiful man. We appreciate the hell out of you. You got to call back. I've enjoyed this conversation immensely.
Hey, keep calling.
Yeah, you got it.
We'll get some more fishing stories out of you.
Hey,
some more minutes out of you.
Swordfish out of Minnetonka, fisted a fish in Carolina.
Hey, last thing. Do you like to sign contracts and buy people shots in bars?
Who told you that, pal?
I don't know, pal, but something just came in my mind last second.
I that's my move, by the way. I sign a contract.
It happens.
I sign a contract and then I try to give it all away at the bar immediately upon arrival.
Hey, that's what you're supposed to do. Show the people some love.
Hey, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, Lane Johnson. You're the man, dude. Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
He got us like 7 FCC violations.
Worth it.
That was a great conversation. We have to get to a radio break. We'll take some calls during the break on youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Shout out to Lane. Cool guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm going to go get some vodka.
What?
Tequila.
What?
Beer.
What?
More beer.
What?
More vodka.
What?
More tequila.
What?
And a break. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Well, Bleacher Report posted about me forging Peyton Manning signatures to friends of mine back whenever I was a young buck in the NFL. And obviously there's a buffoon named Tyler Scott who is going to bat about all the eBay buyers that were potentially buying my friend's balls that were selling them on the internet and potentially being my autograph. By the way, I don't think enough is being said that if somebody buys it thinking it's Peyton Manning's autograph, how about me fucking being Bob Ross getting that thing so close? Right?
Yeah, I mean,
how come that's not being talked about by Tyler? Mr.
Good point.
Negativity over
That's
there.
business, baby.
Mr. Negativity over there.
that whole game is.
What's that?
It's all.
Bro, we have people that meet us outside like these.
I've seen it.
They just show up right outside and they expect me to sign 200 things, and I'm like, it's
wild.
Yo,
Hey, I got a truck of stuff out here if you want to come out and sign every single thing.
I'm like, first of all, nobody wants my autograph. What are you going to make, 50 cents per this thing? They're like, yeah, we're just wondering if we can get 1,000 of these things signed. I'm like, yo, I haven't been home in like 4 days. I'll sign like 20 things, literally like 20 things, and then it'll be like, oh, I got another bag, and I'm like, come on, this is not how this works. They're like,
Oh, you don't like your fans, huh?
And I'm like, go fuck yourself, dude. Those people
Like
are the
those
worst.
people sit out there, like we've seen them with like literally like 6 garbage bags of things to sign,
And if
just for themselves.
By the way, I'll sign an entire garbage bag. If they think about that, an entire garbage bag of things, and they'll be like, okay, and I got this other one for my friend. It's like Halloween where we go trick or treat. My brother's sick. You trying to get 2 bags or whatever?
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
I got a couple more. I started. I'm not saying it because it'll get another Tyler Scott pissed off story. I started putting a dot on things that I signed.
Smart.
So if I saw it for sale, like if I thought somebody was going to go sell it, I would sign it and then I'd put a dot on it, and then I would see it for sale, and I'm like, I remember that guy's face. Yeah, so it was pretty fun. We used to have a training camp up in Anderson. There used to be people out there. I'd sign for everybody. I literally signed for every human that came out until the last person was gone. I almost missed meetings one time because mine ain't worth a damn thing. But I guess if you sell 4,000 things and it's worth $1 each, I guess that's quick $4,000.
Completely different, like signing for 30 things for 30 fans versus one guy who has 30 things to sign.
There's people that show up outside this office. And, I mean, it's just never. Mine isn't worth anything, so just take a hike, pal. Diggs, you should get good at my autograph. Let's go to John in Pennsylvania. What's going on, bub?
Hello.
Hey, John, how's it going,
Big
bub?
fan of the show, Pat.
Oh, we're a big fan of yours. What part of Pennsylvania are you in?
Gun Mills, small town.
Where's it at?
Yeah. More north, more near Delaware.
Oh, northeast. What's that, the Poconos over there?
Yeah.
You over there in the Poconos?
Near it.
Okay, John. What do you want to talk about, John?
The WWE firings, I think they're actually pretty big with a lot of the people they fired. They fired a lot of good workers. I just wanted to hear how you would feel about Mike Chioda, the referee.
I know.
31 years, man.
Love Mike Chioda. Love Kurt Angle, obviously. I've met Rusev was in our RV.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that got laid off or furloughed or released yesterday from the WWE. Sad day in the WWE. We led off with a guy named Sam Roberts, who is hated by wrestling fans but knowledgeable in the wrestling world. He talked about it all. Sad day, man. Sad day. They were hiring in abundance. So they had a lot of people. And then whenever they let people go, it obviously makes big news, makes big space. I hope they can go on and make a living. I mean, because I don't think everybody's just going to get signed by other wrestling promotions. I don't think that's going to. Some people are going to go back to the indies, I assume, and we're in a bad time. But driven, creative, and hardworking individuals, I think, win eventually. And everybody that works at WWE has to be those three things, so I think they'll survive. I hope. I'm not 100% sure. I wish we could just hire all of them. We do have a ring. We do have good internet. We do have good cameras.
Is OCW
Maybe. Is OCW coming out of the depths of hell? Is Office Championship Wrestling coming back? Is that the big news Ty's talking about?
Maybe. I don't know.
We have to get back to the show.
Tune in tomorrow night.
Son of a bitch! This is a sporty song, isn't it?
Ho!
Let's go to Kyle in Cincinnati. What's up, Kyle? Excited to hear this one. I saw the preface of what he wants to talk about. Pumped to hear Kyle in Cincinnati. Kyle, let's go.
Hello?
Kyle, let's go.
What's happening?
How's it going, bub?
It's feeling good. My question is, how do you feel about Mel Kiper and his rant about the Bengals and Joe Burrow not wanting to come to Cincinnati?
So I heard Mel Kiper say that anybody that says that Cincinnati can't win is wrong. And he's basically saying that all these people who have been talking about Joe Burrow potentially not wanting to go to Cincinnati Bengals are buffoons. Am I accurate in saying that?
Yep.
I didn't see the entire.
So. He also cited the 80s and Boomer Esiason in his argument.
Well, he's a historian. The guy's been around, and the Bengals have won games in recent history. Andy Dalton has had a lot of winning seasons at quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. They just, for some reason, can never get going for real. And a lot of people say it's because the organization fails to give the people who need things the things they would need to be successful, whether it's a full scouting department, indoor practice facility, you name it. There's a lot of things that are said about the Cincinnati Bengals and why they are an organization that isn't set up to have actual success or want success. So I think that's why you hear a lot of people saying, although the Cincinnati Bengals fan base is awesome, we love Cincinnati, had one of the best nights of my life in Cincinnati, have friends from Cincinnati who are diehard Bengals fans. The organization itself, though, has never really portrayed itself as one that will win at all costs. We will win with no matter what happens. We want to win football games, and I think that's why people say that Joe Burrow, who's a guaranteed lock for being number one, and you've seen John Elway do it, you've seen Eli Manning do it. If Joe Burrow wanted to, would he take a stand and say, you know what, I don't want my career to get wasted in a place that doesn't absolutely have an obsession with winning and a winning culture? That's why that narrative got spun. Then some things were said, and he hired Carson Palmer's brother to be his quarterback guru. Carson Palmer obviously left because of all the things I just said. That's how that narrative got painted. I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm not saying it's a good one, but that's what people in this particular profession do on a very regular basis, is start piecing things together, even if there isn't something to be pieced together. And now that it's via Zoom, it's much easier to say, nah, I ain't doing it whenever you're not around somebody. But ultimately, I don't think Joe Burrow would do that. Joe Burrow is an Ohio guy. He could potentially be the face of Cincinnati for the next 20 years. He could bring a winning culture to the Cincinnati Bengals. That'd be massive for Joe Burrow after what he's already done for the state of Ohio. I think Joe Burrow will love it. But you could see how people would say, hey, this isn't exactly an organization that caters to winning at all costs like other places could be, but that's why they have the number one pick. And any team that has the number one pick probably stinks.
And they also haven't won a playoff game since 1991. So,
that's what people talk about.
It's kind of proof in the pudding.
Yeah, anyone with a brain knows they can win. They've won regular seasons. They've won the AFC North. They had competitive 10-win seasons, 11-win seasons. It's the playoffs, and that's all anyone cares about.
I get yelled at by Cincinnati people about talking about that indoor practice facility. in the playoffs, how cold is it in Cincinnati?
Oh, cold.
Quite.
How hard is it, you think, to do a diligent practice with a bunch of people whenever it is 10 degrees outside and snowing and windy? Do you think it's easy to get through reps whenever guys can't feel their faces or their legs? No. That is one little thing that I always point back to. That's just like, it makes no sense that team does not have an indoor practice facility, but that's the type of organization it is. They're old school, they're traditional and things like that. And a lot of people, proofs in the pudding with the 91 thing, say that's not an organization that wants to win. That's why the Joe Burrow narrative has happened. But I don't think Joe Burrow's going to do that. Joe Burrow seems to be a stand-up guy, smokes cigars from Ohio, raise money, you name it.
Yeah, seems like
They have that 5-star restaurant in the facility now, too, as AJ Hawk has alluded to.
Oh, yeah.
been down a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, AJ told the story on McAfee and Hawk. How many years ago was it where they finally got a weight room where they could fit the entire team in it and not just division or position groups one at a time?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're on the come up. Joe Burrow will be the face of the Cincinnati Bengals coming into being a successfully built organization top to bottom. I think they've had good players there. I think they've had great coaches there. I think they've done all that. They just haven't been able to win because of potentially the organization, which is what everybody's saying. And Mel Kiper, I respect the fact that he's going to bat in his villain office that he shoots from on a daily basis. He's coming from the shadows. He's got shadows on his face, and the back looks like a villain. And Mel Kiper ruined my draft day, and I assume he did that to a lot of other people, but I respect his passion. I respect it a lot.
His hair is looking very villainous lately.
Yes. Oh, it's good. He's got good hair this year. The years come and
Big.
go.
It's
Mel
big.
Kiper's hair, each year is kind of what you judge where Mel Kiper's at. This year's hair, we're in a good spot. A lot of people without hair and makeup looking very different. Mel Kiper, same old G, Mero. Same old G.
He definitely looks like he sits underneath that heating lamp thing for like at least half an hour.
Yeah.
I want your blood.
You just said he looks like a vampire. Big news by Ty Schmidt tomorrow night,
Yep, tomorrow night.
10 p.m.
Ish.
3, 4. We're back at 1 o'clock with McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. You're the greatest. Thursday, April 16th. Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana.